The Homeless World Cup kicks off in Cardiff today. It's the first time the tournament has come to Wales. Our correspondent Colette Hume is at Butte Park for us, where the games will be taking place. Good morning, Colette.
Good morning, Natasha. The countdown has begun at 12:30 this afternoon. The Wales men's team will take on Denmark on the pitch just behind me, the opening game of the 2019 Homeless World Cup. And this afternoon, the women will take on Northern Ireland. I have with me Kerry Harris, the Wales team manager. Good morning, Kerry. Welcome to BBC Radio Wales. How are the two teams feeling this morning?
Really good, actually, I think. Bit nervous, bit excited, and really looking forward to the challenge, really. So
it all became very real last night when the fixtures were announced here at Butte Park, and last night they were presented with their match kits, weren't they?
Yeah, that was quite an emotional experience for them. You know, they don't expect it, and then we do it out of the blue, and they've got their names on the back of the shirts and everything, so they're all proud as punch this morning. Can't wait to put them on to play the games later.
This is such a big thing for them because in so many ways, you know, they have been through some terrible times. They've lost their homes in some cases, they've lost families, friends, their identities, and in some cases, some of the team members have lost their liberty for a time. And suddenly they are thrust into this world where people are going to be screaming their name, cheering for them. How do you manage that?
Oh, it is tough, and it's amazing to see, you know, that people, the players, when they put the shirt on for the first time, they feel 12 feet tall, and you can see them grow in confidence from that very first moment. It is emotional, it's difficult to manage, to be fair, but we seem to do okay. And the thing with it is about showing people as not just football players, and not just homeless people. You know, they are real internationals, you know, and it just builds that confidence for them to take it on to the next stage of their lives, really.
And yeah, that whole point is that they are players, they are internationals now.
Yeah.
That's quite a thing for them to take. I spoke to one of the players the other day and she said, I'm going to get sent home. And I said, why do you think you're going to get sent home? I don't know, but I just think I'm going to be sent home. For most of these people, this is the first really good thing that's happened to them in a very long time, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is such a positive experience for them for the start, really, that because they've had things taken away from them all their lives, they just think that at any moment the bubble's going to burst and it's all going to be over, and that's not the case. You know, we support them right the way through. We make sure that they're capable of doing it. If we have any doubts about people, we do extra work with them, but we support them right the way through it so that they can make the journey from start to finish, really.
And just to explain to people, there is a huge support system in place. You and your other half, Rosa, run Street Football Wales, which is where the players come from. It's 4 leagues, more than 40 teams across Wales, and that's where all of the players for the World Cup come from. And you and Rosa, you're team mum and dad, aren't you, as well as team manager and an assistant boss? Well,
I don't particularly like that, but it's not. You can't avoid it. You know, we've got people who are looking for role models and people to believe in, really, and for people to believe in them, you know, and that's what we do with the players every year, is that we just show them that there are people who trust them and believe in them, and that they can achieve anything they want, really, and that's kind of our roles. There's other people on board who have been there and done it, like Craig and Wayne are both ex-players.
We will be speaking to Wayne a little bit later today. Now, the first game kicks off at 12:30. There is a parade that is starting from the Principality Stadium just before midday today. So I think the message to everyone listening is come down, come and support your teams. They'll be playing 12:30 and the women are playing later this afternoon. It's free to come down here to Butte Park. Straight after, in fact. So the Wales women playing straight after the men. Come down, support your team, support Wales. Kerry Harris, thank you very much indeed.
No problem.
Colette, thank you. And we'll be back with Colette throughout the programme, getting plenty. As we've been hearing throughout the programme, the Homeless World Cup kicks off in Cardiff today. More than 500 players representing 48 countries will take part in the week-long festival. Among them will be Jennifer Gattrell, a goalkeeper for the Wales women's team, the Welsh Warriors. The 34-year-old from Newport spent more than a year living in a hostel after she became homeless.
To be honest, I haven't sunk in yet. I think on the day when I'm actually lining up singing the national anthem, I think that's when it starts kicking in, and it's going to be fantastic. I was living in my nan's, so I was sofa surfing between my nan and my mum's house, but my nan got really, really ill. Then had to go into a nursing home. Obviously, when she went into the home, I've lost my house. At the same time, I lost my job, lost my ex, lost my friends, lost my family because my mum had a stroke. Went to the housing. They put me into a night shelter for about 3 weeks. And then I got a call to go into the hostel. So I was in there for about a year. You don't know who your friends are when you're at the rock bottom. You can't see around you, you can't... It's like for years I hated playing in goals. For years I've never wanted to. Every football team I played is like, oh Jen, go in goals, go in goals. I'm like, no, I don't like it. It's only the last 2 years I've kind of embraced it and thought, you know what, if people say I'm good, then I'm good enough for this. Just want to make my nan proud, like, just wish she was here to see the daylight. But she is in a way, but...
And we'll be live from the ground before 8 o'clock. Now, hundreds of players and supporters will be descending on Cardiff today as the Homeless World Cup comes to Wales for the first time. Our correspondent Colette Hume is in Butte Park where the games will be taking place. I'm a bit jealous of you this morning out there, Colette.
Oh, we are going to have just the most fantastic week here. It kicks off at 11:30 with a parade of the 500 players from the 48 nations, which starts from outside the Principality Stadium and then comes back here to Butte Park. And then at 12:30, the first game, the Wales men's team will play Denmark, and then straight after that, the Wales women's team will play Northern Ireland. With me now is someone who knows exactly how it feels to run out onto the pitch to play for their country. He's Wayne Ellaway, who represented Wales in the 2015... Hold on a second, we're going to have to move because there's a man who's moving some barriers. We don't want to get run down. Morning! Wayne Ellaway, who represented Wales in the 2015 games in Amsterdam, who is now the Wales men's team coach. Good morning to you, Wayne. How are you?
Good morning.
What did it feel like when you were out in Amsterdam and you ran out with that Wales shirt to play for Wales back in 2015?
It feels different from right now. It's just got all real.
Yeah.
In 2015 was a fantastic experience. Yeah.
Now, for people who don't know, you'd had a really, really tough time. You'd spent 20 years addicted to various substances. You'd done some time in prison. You were rough sleeping. Things weren't good for you. You came out of prison 2013. You got involved with Street Football Wales. You were helped by the Salvation Army as well. You went to play in 2015. That must have been quite a difficult experience just to get your head around that, surely.
I just think I took it all in my stride and enjoyed the moment, which I tell the players now, that's the most important thing, is to embrace it, enjoy the moment, because it'll soon be over.
Football helped your recovery. It was not the only thing that helped your recovery.
Yeah.
But tell me how confident you felt after that week in Amsterdam, and how did that help you sort of plotting what you were going to do with your life after then?
Oh, it definitely gave me confidence, motivation. I think the most important thing, it gave me belief that I could achieve and do things.
And you have a job, you have a home of your own, you're now coaching the men's team. So give us some info from inside the camp. What's the mood there this morning?
Really excited. They all got their kits last night. But when you see it from, selection day 3.5 months ago, training for 3 months, it's like, it's not real. And then all the teams arriving yesterday, South Africa singing, everyone chanting, nice food. And then come down to the pitch, then it becomes real.
You say excited. What time did everyone go to bed last night? Because we should explain that all the teams are in the team village up at Talabont, the university, Cardiff University halls of residence. So lots of people there, lots of people meeting people from different parts of the world for the first time. Did anybody get to bed? Mind the truck again. Anybody get to bed before midnight last night?
We have 11 p.m. curfew.
Do you?
Yes.
Was that adhered to?
Yes. That's a must.
And you've got a week of games, and again, to explain to people, these games are 15 minutes in length. So they're quite short and sharp. So from a playing point of view, people have got to be pretty fit and pretty fast, haven't they?
Yeah, pretty fit, pretty fast, and you have to be switched on from the start.
And tell us, Wales rather, have got a bit of a secret weapon, a young man called Mudge, who is a semi-pro in Yemen, where he's from. Tell us a bit more about Mudge.
I can't give any secrets out, but just come along, have a look, and you can see for yourself.
And we've got Mark, who is the goalkeeper, one of the older members of the squad, but quite literally he's a safe pair of hands, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
And in terms of the women's team, we've got Bonnie, we've got Helen, we've got Jen, the goalkeeper that we've spoken to. This is a really big day for them, isn't it?
It's a massive day for everyone involved, especially for Kerry Harris, who's like 17 years of his time.
Kerry, of course, being the founder of Street Football Wales, the team manager. He's been influential in helping you and influential in helping a lot of people. Can this tournament really help people change their lives?
Definitely can. Like I said at the start, it gives you that belief and confidence that you can achieve.
You can do anything you want.
You can.
One final question. 20 years ago, when things were not good for you, if somebody had said you'd be here in Butte Park, coaching Wales, playing in the Homeless World Cup, on home turf, what would you have said?
Definitely not. Definitely not. But I used to walk around this area when I was homeless and addicted. So to actually coach this year is, it's just surreal.
And life is good for you now?
Amazing, amazing.
Wayne, thank you so much for your time. The very best of luck to you and the teams. And as we say, the parade will begin from the Principality Stadium at 11:30 this morning. Come along. The Homeless World Cup will be here all week. Entry is free. And on top of all of that, there will be talks and there will be music. And we'll be speaking to one of the bands, Buzzard, 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 who'll be playing here a little bit later in the programme. But for now, back to you, Natasha.
Claire, thank you. It sounds great. I think I'm going to have to pop down after the show this morning. So let's return now to Butte Park in Cardiff city centre, where the teams are starting to gather for the start of the Homeless World Cup. Our correspondent Colette Hume is there for us. And Colette, you've been speaking to a Welsh actor who's been instrumental in bringing this tournament to Wales.
Natasha, that's absolutely right. Michael Sheen is known to millions of fans as the man behind the face of Frost Nixon, the film. He also played Brian Clough in The Damned United, and you can see him right now in the American Netflix show, which the name of which I've completely forgotten. Thank you, Good Omens. My friend and colleague Matt has just said it's called The Good Omens. He's in that right now with your man who used to be in Doctor Who, Matt is called David Tennant. Thank you very much.
Team effort, Colette.
Yes, you're right. Michael Sheen has been absolutely instrumental in this, and in fact he has put much of his own money in bringing the Homeless World Cup to Wales. Quite simply, he told me he believes that football can change lives. So I spoke to him the other day and said, well, you've done it, you've brought the Homeless World Cup to Wales, how do you feel? And this is what he told me.
I can't believe we're here. It feels like it's been a long time coming, and then the last sort of 2 months are suddenly concertinaed up. So there's been a huge amount of work. The team behind everything has just been incredible. And now we're starting to see the players arriving here, been welcoming them here, coming from all over the world. It's a reality now. It's amazing. I can't believe that. Like 2 years ago when we were putting the bid forward, we're actually here. The day has come.
You talk a lot about legacy. Tell me how you think this Homeless World Cup can change lives.
Well, the experience itself of coming to the Homeless World Cup is a potentially transformative one for people. You've got people coming from all over the world, often travelling abroad for the first time, and experiencing things, meeting people that they would never meet otherwise, and representing their country. Just the fact that they're coming along and they're wearing their country's badge on their shirt has a huge amount of power. So that is transformative in itself. So just having this happen, but the focus for me has always been what happens after the football finishes. So using this Homeless World Cup as a platform to be able to launch projects and initiatives and programs afterwards, to create new collaborations and to look at tackling these issues in new and more effective ways, hopefully. So we've got the people who are all around the table in terms of delivering this tournament, people like Cardiff City Council, Welsh Government, Cardiff University, all these organisations, to talk with them now about how do we move things forward afterwards? How do we now work together in a more effective and more collaborative way? And also to make sure that we get the information from the people who are the experts on this, who are the people who actually have lived it, who've been homeless, who are experiencing what it is to be homeless and socially excluded, and the people who are on the front lines of giving them support. So to listen to them, let them guide us in terms of how we make concrete change afterwards.
And for people who are thinking of coming down to the event, it is about football, but it's about a lot of other things. Tell me about some of the other things that are going on.
Well, we've got a week full of football, which is going to be amazing, a fantastic tournament of football. But we've also got live Welsh bands every night, the best of Welsh music that's going on, Welsh language and English language. We've got the Bevan tent, so we've got debates and panels and talks, podcasts, stand-up comedy, poetry, all kinds of stuff going on in there, and family activities all week as well. So there's going to be plenty going on. Hopefully, if we have nice weather as well, which it looks like, fingers crossed we will, it'll be a fantastic opportunity for Cardiff and the wider Wales to come and celebrate all of this.
And that celebration is going to begin at 11:30 this morning, when the parade of the 500 players, men and women, from 48 nations begins outside Gate 4. That's what I think we describe as the main big gate outside the Principality Stadium. They're going to parade from there down here to Butte Park. And then, after the opening ceremony and the anthem is sung, the first game will take place, and that will be the hosts, Wales men's team, taking on Denmark, followed by the women's team, the Warriors, taking on Northern Ireland. Now, throughout the morning, we've been speaking to lots of people, Natasha, who are involved in the competition. Yeah. Kerry Harris, the team manager, and we've been speaking to Wayne Ellaway, a former player and now a team coach. And I can tell you that they are so excited. They're excited about the fact that this day is here, that the competition has started, but they're particularly pleased that with the support and indeed the financial help of Michael Sheen and many other people, this competition is here in Wales' backyard in Butte Park. And what they told me is they think that this is transformative in so many ways. It's transformative in terms of the fact that people who have had a pretty bad time in life are finally getting a chance to shine and show what they can do. So the message from the Homeless World Cup is clear. Come down here. It's free to come in. Come and join the fun. Come and support Wales. Come and support all the teams and do your bit to help these people write a new chapter.
Let's return now to Butte Park in Cardiff, where people are starting to gather for the opening of the Homeless World Cup. Our correspondent Colette Hume is in the middle of the action. Hi Colette, where are you?
I am right in the middle of Butte Park, Cardiff's backyard if you like, and I can see behind me the main pitch, which at 12:30 will be full of supporters of Wales, because they kick off this tournament playing Denmark. The men will play at 12:30, and the women's team, the Warriors, they will take on Northern Ireland straight afterwards. So by 12:30 today we are expecting the stands to be full with players from all the other teams cheering them on, and of course supporters of Wales. But with me to talk about the issue of homelessness are Lindsay Corderay-Bruce, the Chief Executive of the Woolwich, and Katie Dalton from Cymorth Cymru. Good morning to you both, ladies.
Good morning.
Let's start with you, Lindsay. First of all, I don't want to describe the players who are here as lucky, because they're not. They've been through an awful lot, but they are getting support, they're getting help, they're in hostels, they're in supported accommodation. There are lots of people who spent last night sleeping rough or on floor space. You organise a breakfast run that goes around Cardiff every morning. Tell me what the situation is right now.
The situation's becoming increasingly worrying. We have breakfast runs going out across all the major cities in Wales, and we're seeing on average 30 people a day with various health problems, mental health problems, and a lot of people suffering from the heat at the moment.
I know that when we spoke last year, you said that actually the heat is more of a problem in some ways than the cold for people who are rough sleeping. Some people listening to us this morning will be thinking, well, why are people still sleeping rough? Surely there must be somewhere with a roof that these people can go for shelter.
There's a whole range of reasons why people will continue to sleep out. It's not as simple as providing a house. Quite often what we're looking at is healing from complex traumas, from things that have happened to them, learning disabilities quite often, and a whole range of other complexities. So it's never as easy as somebody just coming inside.
We know that the path to homelessness can almost start before a child is born. A report from Public Health Wales only 2 weeks ago said that if you experience adverse childhood experiences, you are 16 times more likely than the average member of the population, you or me, to find themselves homeless. That's quite a shocking statistic, isn't it?
It is. There's been a lot of work done around adverse childhood experiences, and actually 47% of Welsh adults have at least one. So it's not unusual for people to be going through things. Where it becomes more complex is when there's a lot of those things clumped together, and then people develop maladaptive coping strategies. They find that they are unable to navigate systems and things like that, so it does make it harder for people to come in.
It does. Well, standing next to you is Katie Dalton from Commonwealth Cymru. And Katie, you are launching a major campaign to tie in with the start of the Homeless World Cup, because you want people to do a lot of things. You want people to engage with small acts of kindness towards people that they might see, and you also want them to make a bigger effort, if you like. You want them to engage with their politicians. Tell us more about that.
So our Play Your Part campaign runs alongside the Homeless World Cup, and the message is simple. Everyone can do something to help end homelessness. If we all do at least one thing, then we can make a real difference. Some of the things that we're asking the public to do are small acts of kindness. So stop and have a chat with someone who's on the streets, because quite often people walk past people, ignore them, and sometimes they receive abuse. Other things that people can do is learn more about the causes and solutions to homelessness, tell their friends and family, educate people, inform people, but we're also asking people to contact their assembly members and their MPs, because we've got a series of asks of government, things like increasing the social housing available, reducing waiting times for universal credit, and investing more in support services. And we're calling on members of the public in Wales to visit our website, to get engaged with the campaign on social media, email their MPs and assembly members, and play their part in trying to make changes in Wales.
And Katie, for people who are coming down here to Butte Park over the next week to the Homeless World Cup, which is free to come into, so come down, come and support your team and the other teams. Tell us about the pledge boards that you've got here.
So we've got a campaign stand on site, and we have some pledge boards that people can come down and pledge their individual actions, and we'll then put it on social media. It can be anything from a small act of kindness to something that they're going to do in terms of getting active and emailing their assembly member. So please come and visit our stall, make your pledge, and then hopefully by the end of the week we'll have hundreds of people who have pledged their support for the campaign, who are all going to play their part, and that will hopefully lead to the movement to end homelessness.
And one final question to you both. There is going to be a parade that is leaving the Principality Stadium later this morning. It's about 10 to 12 it starts. You'll both be involved. You want people to come along and support the players?
Absolutely, come along. If everyone can get there for 11:30, come along, join the fun, support the players who travel from across the entire world to be here this week.
Yeah, this is a real celebration. If you bear in mind the things that people have overcome to get to where they are to be representing their country, most people can't even give up chocolate. We need to really celebrate what these guys have achieved.
Katie and Lindsay, thank you both. And as I say, the parade leaves at 11:30 from the Principality Stadium, from Gate 4 and Westgate Street. Come and join the fun. Come down to the Homeless World Cup and support your team.
Oh, thanks, Colette. It really does sound something to look forward to. And we'll be back with Colette after. It's coming up to 5 to 9 here on BBC Radio Wales Breakfast, and it's not long before the first game kicks off in the Homeless World Cup, which is being held in Wales for the first time. So much to look forward to down there this morning. Our correspondent Colette Humes is out and about in Butte Park in Cardiff city centre, where all the action will be taking place. Good morning to you, Colette.
Good morning, Natasha, and welcome to the Homeless World Cup Village. Now, just behind me, the group of security guys who are going to be looking after the site are just getting their morning briefing. I'm very happy to say that 2 of the tea and coffee stands are just opening, because we're all desperate for a cup of coffee here, and things are starting to moving. The main action will start from around 11:30 this morning, when the parade leaves from the Principality Stadium and comes back here to Butte Park, and then the first game is going to be played at 12:30, and that will be the host nation Wales men playing Denmark, followed by the Wales women playing Northern Ireland. Now, of course, with any great sporting competition, you need an anthem. And the Homeless World Cup is no exception. They have an anthem of their own. It's been written by Tom Rees and the guys from Buzzard. Tom is here with me this morning. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you for being here. You've written the anthem, the song. What's it called? What's it about?
Yes, so the song is called Daffodil Hill. It was written sort of at the request of the ambassador of the tournament, Michael Sheen. It's kind of, I think Michael wanted it to be sort of less about the subject matter sort of entirely, and more just about general sort of positivity and sort of Welsh optimism at that. So I think it's more about just kind of banding together and being with one another and, you know, being happy sort of vibe.
Now, you guys have been together as a band for just over a year or so. Tell me how that works when a Hollywood superstar rings you up and says, Tom, mate, write me a song. How does that go?
It went pretty well, actually. I think we met in Barker Coffee, which was a really surreal experience for me. Sort of being crammed in a corner with Michael Sheen was very...
in the middle of Cardiff?
Yeah. It was pretty spooky, really. I think... it was. I think I was pretty nervous the entire time whilst he was trying to speak to me. You know, he has beautiful eyes. Have you ever seen Michael Sheen's eyes?
I have. I agree.
He has very beautiful eyes. It's hard to. You get lost in them. Honestly, this isn't a joke. I was.
There's a bromance going on here, isn't there?
Yeah, maybe one way, maybe one directional, but still at that. Yeah.
So Michael Sheen says, "Hey Tom, write me a song."
Yeah. It was essentially around that. I think he was. Well, I like to think he was a fan for a little while, and sort of liked the vibe that we were putting out. So I think he just asked us to write a song, sort of along a similar line, and sort of do what we do, really. And we have a studio on the other side of town, so it was really easy to sort of to put out. Yeah.
How long did it take to write that song?
I'd love to say that I toyed with it for a very long time, but my brother helped me. I think probably the idea came together in probably a couple of hours, and then a couple of days to record it and stuff. But it was pretty easy when you've got a fantastic sort of subject matter and a wonderful brief from Michael Sheen. You know.
And so you wrote the song, you recorded it, you sent it to him, and then you had to get the yay or the nay.
Yeah, it was really, really nerve-wracking, actually. I was freaking out a little bit once I sent it. I think the majority of the time that it took me to kind of get the song together, I think 70% of it was me toying with the idea of actually sending it or not.
Okay.
And then it was an overwhelming yes, so that was brilliant. Yeah, it was a great day.
Now, you live in Cardiff, you worked in the city, and you see, as we all do across Wales, rough sleeping. What's your feelings and thoughts, and how did that feed into what you were writing?
Well, I think what's really important about this tournament and the whole idea of the sort of Homeless World Cup is the sense of community that's sort of inspired. And I think something that I've seen from living in Cardiff especially, I'm sure it's a nationwide problem, but in Cardiff especially, is that the numbers have been growing sort of over the years, and there's been a further disconnect between people who see homelessness and people who experience homelessness.
So hopefully this tournament will give people in the city and further beyond a chance to engage with those people. Tom, thank you very much indeed. You will be playing here next Saturday night. You're part of the finale of the competition, and if you want to hear Tom and Buzzard's song, get onto YouTube. It's there, isn't it? Thank you very much. Now let's quickly tell you what else is going on. We've got Sarah Pascoe playing on Sunday. James Dean Bradfield from the Manic Street Preachers, he is playing here on Tuesday, and Charlotte Church on Friday before, as we say, Buzzard. And we, as we said throughout the programme, come and see the Homeless World Cup. It's free to enter, and the fun and the games start just after 12 o'clock today.